So welcome to Yin Yoga, and tonight's class might be good to have a strap handy, some kind of non-elastic band. You can use a dog leash or a towel but something that's going to bite into the foot, so to speak. So we'll talk more about that later. So why don't we start in a comfortable position? So look for something that's comfortable. Now for some people it'll be sitting up, for some people it'll be lying down, for some people it might be standing. What feels comfortable right now for you? And in that position, develop an inner focus, particularly to do with your alignment. Where is your head in relationship to your shoulders in relationship to your hips in relationship to your knees, and your knees in relationship to your ankles. So you visualize that shape that you've created in your position of rest. And notice if you can relax into it a little more. Is there any areas of holding that are making that position a little uncomfortable? What would the adjustment be that would help that sense of internal focus on the body being a little more relaxed? So apart from trauma, the natural state of the body is one that wants to relax. See if you can find that natural state of the body wanting to relax, to let go. And you'll notice I sighed simply as an expression of that relaxation. So there was a sense of the respiratory system coming into alignment. So the breathing starts to slow down. The breathing can actually become softer even though it deepens. And that can result in sighing or exhaling as a way to let go of any built up tension. And as the breath changes, the heartbeat changes. As the body recognizes its natural state of relaxation. And then soften the face, let the muscles in the face soften. And that will boost the relaxed breathing. Especially the muscles around the eyes, the eyelids, cheeks, mouth. And then consciously increase the length of the exhale. Until the exhale stops and there's a natural pause and there's a natural inhale. Don't affect the inhale. Let the inhale be natural. The only thing you're affecting is the exhale. Pulling the navel back towards the spine. Empty completely. Wait, then let the inhale come of its own accord. So at any time during tonight's practice, focus on the exhale, not the inhale. Just throw it out. And you can use abdominal contraction here. You can use the strength of your abdominals muscles to pull the navel back and empty, pushes the diaphragm up and empties the lungs more fully. And then in your own time, whatever position you're into, come into your back, grab a strap. If your head needs any kind of support for neutral head tilt, you can use a blanket or a towel or a cushion. And we'll start with the knees together, feet apart, into TP pose, restorative, constructive rest pose. And see if you can have the entire bottom of the foot on the mat. So that might require a little bit of pigeon toeing of the feet. And as you exhale, bring internal focus to your low back. Push it into the mat. Relax as you inhale. And you may find the spine becomes a little flexible here. As you exhale, you press the low back into the mat. As you inhale and relax, the back may arch. Pick up both knees, grab the knees, and turn the knees in a circle with passive hips. Let the hips remain passive, so the arms are doing the work. Massage that low back area. And then rotate the other direction. Pause and grab your strap. Pause and grab that strap and put it over the left foot for now. And start to floss the bottom of the foot. I want you to use the strap like floss, pulling it one side then the other, getting deep into the fascia of the foot. And notice the difference when you consciously bring internal focus into your foot by curling the toes back. Can you start to feel the back of the legs, or the back of the left leg, start to lengthen? So this tightening of the back of the leg is part of the fascial sheet that comes from the bottom of the foot all the way up through the back body, all the way up to the skull. Gently lengthen out the right leg and rest it on the ground as you do this. Bring internal focus into your right foot. Curl the toes back of the right foot as well. So you're lengthening the leg we're not working on at the same time. Now pause the flossing as you bring that internal focus into your foot again. Toes curled back, feel that calf muscle stretch, hamstring stretch. Taking pressure off the bottom of the foot, the Achilles tendon. And then gently lower the foot towards the floor. And notice the difference in the stretch at the back of the leg. Lift up slowly, coming up, finding your range of motion of that left leg. Toes curled back. Feel how the stretch moves into the upper leg. Maybe the low back. Do that a few more times, playing around with your own leg. Internal focus. Taking a little bit of pressure off the bottom of that foot for now. And then transferring both ends of the strap into your left hand only. Pick up the right knee and hug the right knee into the ribs. Now if you want to do a little ab work here, you can bring your nose to your knee and play around with that, so long as the low back stays flat on the floor. If you want to just rest, bring your head down and just hold the position. Keep the toes curled back. Keep the toes curled back. Now let's play around with the hips here. Gently expand or abduct the hips, bringing left leg out to the left, right knee to the right, and close again. So it's a dynamic, slow motion, just feeling the hips as they abduct and adduct. That's it. And see if you can find a range of motion that feels, oh gee, that feels good. Now your internal organs might start to come awake here. Mine are definitely gurgling and carrying on. And keep this accordion motion going until you find a point where you just want to hold the hips open to the degree that feels good. Relax the head. Curl the toes back. Remember, we're still working on the bottom of the foot here with that dorsiflexion of the foot. We want to keep length in that Achilles tendon and calf muscle. Ah. And then slowly bring them back. Drop the right foot to the floor and cross the left ankle over the right knee. And we're going to do a little bit more movement of the hip flexor here by lifting the figure four up towards your ribs and then lowering it towards the floor. So you're just moving that figure four towards you and away from you. Once again, range of motion that feels good. Hopefully feeling a little traction in the low back. As you bring the figure four up using your leg power, you can also assist by grabbing the foot and the knee with your hands and increasing the range of motion using your arm strength. Oh, yeah. Now the next time you bring the figure 4 up, hold the figure 4 and hold the left ankle and the left foot with your hands. Grip the toes very strongly. Grip the toes very strongly with your right hand. And start to turn the foot with a passive ankle. So the arm's doing the turning here. If your right leg gets too tight, the right hip flexor, you can always rest it to the floor and hold the foot more like a pigeon, if that's helpful. Rotate the other way, firm grip. Just like you're turning a wheatgrass juicer. For all you hippies out there. Now, once again, we're going to give the left foot a little bit of love by taking the thumbs and the fingers and pressing into the foot all over. Press into the arch with the thumbs. Press into the top of the foot, the bones with your fingers. Squeeze the heel. Squeeze the Achilles. Oh. Really get into that fashion. You might even bend the toes back individually or separate them laterally by pulling the webbing apart. Just a good old-fashioned massage into the foot. And before we leave this position, come back to your figure 4 and really squeeze it in towards the ribs, giving the low back and the hips plenty of traction here, feeling the piriformis, the outer thigh. And then just for a moment, release everything and extend both legs out into a mini Shavasana, a mini letting go. And in that mini letting go, bring your inner focus back into the left leg, the left foot, and the right leg, the right foot, the left hip, the right hip, the left low back, the right low back. Have you created any contrast? And then pick up the right knee and hug the right knee in towards the ribs. Drive out through the left heel, keep the left leg extended, toes curled back. So we keep the back of the left leg lengthening. So a lot of our plantar fasciitis comes from this shortening of the back of the leg. Let's grab the strap again and come into some flossing on the right foot. Now, if you have a really sensitive area on the foot that doesn't like the pressure, just be gentle over that area of the foot. But try to find parts of the foot that really enjoy this deep friction. How are those toes? Are they curled back? Oh yeah, feel that position with the toes curled back. Now when you stop flossing, I tend to like to have the strap somewhere where the arch meets the ball of the foot, somewhere in that area. That seems to be a good non-slip position and supports the toes coming back. Let's do some, bring that left knee up into the chest, squeeze it in, take the strap into the other hand, the right hand. Oh, I'm doing a lot of sighing here. And then we'll try that little sweet hip opening, abduction, adduction. Just start with small pendulum movements and let them grow as the muscles let go. Don't go too quick. Really enjoy that. Oh. Should be lots of groans of satisfaction, hopefully. And then remembering the ultimate, or one of the end points here, is to simply get to a position where you can sustain the stretch. Toes curled back. And then slowly bring the right ankle over the left knee. Figure 4, you probably don't need the strap anymore. And do your figure 4 lifts. So you're activating the hip flexors here to pick the figure 4 up and bring it towards the ribs. And at any time you want to use the hands to add a little more support and pull to increase the traction in the low back, the piriformis, the thigh, the outer thigh. And keep doing that until you want to squeeze and hold that pigeon type pose variation. And at some point you might want to start to rotate that right foot by squeezing the toes. Of the right foot. Ankle is passive. If you hold the ankle with the other hand, you can really help it be passive. So the foot's not getting tired, it's being worked by the arm. Rotate the other way. And then if you're still comfortable with the figure 4 up, you can start to really massage, strong massage into the foot and toes, heel and ankle, Achilles tendon. Give that foot plenty of love and gratitude for all the work it does. Thank you, foot. Massage as long as you like, and then when you're ready, just squeeze that figure 4 into a nice final, tight, low back traction squeeze. And when you're ready, you can come into a mini Shavasana, just relaxing the legs. And then gently bend the knees. Stand the feet on the floor. And lift your hips up off the floor high enough that you feel your quadriceps stretching. You just feel the front of that leg stretching. Rest anytime you need to. But give that quadricep time to stretch. Gently lower the hips and roll onto one side of the body and curl up into a little ball. I'm going to recommend you use your arm to support the head like a cushion. You can use your bicep or your hand. And then take the top hand, the top free hand, and pick up your top knee and open up like a little clamshell. Just open up and lower down. Open up, lower down. So really hitting the hip in this abduction, adduction. And the next time you lift it up, slide your hand down towards the ankle, grip hold of the ankle. If you can't reach your ankle, use a strap around the ankle and see if you can straighten both legs, straighten the bottom leg. So you're in a kind of George Costanza type pose. And you're going to pull that top leg back towards your buttocks, bringing your top knee towards the bottom knee. And work your shoulder here. Bring that top shoulder back more. It's like you're squeezing the shoulder blade, and then internal focus on your alignment. Head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. That might mean bringing your hips forward more. That's going to increase the stretch in the quad. Knees in alignment with the hips and the ankle in alignment with the knee. Well, one ankle, the bottom ankle. And for those who already have longer quads, you can lay on your belly if you like at this point to increase that sensation in the quad. That's just an option. For 3, 2, and gently release. If you're on your belly, you'll make your way onto your other side. If you're on one side, you'll curl up into a little ball onto the other side. Just start with a curled up ball. Support the head. And then gentle clamshell openings and closings for that hip. on this side. Lubricate the hip. With WD-40 in there. Now the next time you lift the knee, you can slide the left hand down to secure your ankle and let the body unfold itself into George Costanza pose, Cleopatra pose, whoever lies like this pose. Internal focus, head, shoulders, hips, knees, ankle. Bring that top shoulder back more. Oh. So you're really opening up the chest here, and the front of the shoulder. And that's going to help push the hip forward more to line up to him. See if you can bring that foot back more, knee over knee. If you want more stretch, come onto your belly at any time. Oh. Three, 2, 1, and slowly relax everything and rest. Whether you want to rest on your side or on your belly or on your back, doesn't matter. Whew. And once again, curl up onto your side, onto your little ball, and use that little ball shape to lean forwards towards the floor and push yourself up to a seated position. Oh. And here I'm going to recommend you grab a towel or a blanket. And fold it in such a way that you can create like a burrito shape out of the blanket or the towel. So it kind of looks like it's a rolled up towel. Doesn't look like it is. And then that's going to be our seat for our sit bone, so you come onto it. But come onto the front edge of it, so there's a almost like you're slipping off it. You've got a forward tilt of the pelvis. Keep your strap handy. Might as well keep your blocks handy if you have blocks. And we'll take the right foot. And bring it underneath you. So it's kind of below your sit bone, approximately. Now if that right knee is in the air, what I'm going to ask you to do is put something under it, like a cushion or a block. If it stays on the ground, great. And we'll start with that left leg. Bring the knee up towards you and out away from you, extending it. Toes curled back, grab the hamstring. So just a few of those, up and out. And the next time you bend it, I want you to try and bring it onto the floor on the other side of that right leg, so it's crossed over the thigh, and you've got Adjust your seat here. You might find, oh, my seat feels awkward. So one way to test if the seat feels awkward, does one sit bone sit heavily and the other sits lightly? So your internal focus is trying to bring the sit bones as evenly as possible. So we get that nice stretch through the outer hip and the thigh. If you can't grab the knee for some reason, use a strap over the knee and hold the strap. And then take the left hand behind the back for a moment and bring it onto the floor or a block. Or if you like, you can tuck it into the waistline of your pants and grip the waistline of the pants. Bring that left shoulder back. Internal awareness, head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Just see if your body wants to compensate here. Shoulders roll back and down. Imagine your shoulder blades trying to sink into the floor behind you. Imagine the neck growing longer, lifting the head up so you become tall. And then let's check in on the neck, turning the head to the left. What's the range of motion feel like? And then internal, bring the head to neutral. Turn the head to the right. So you feel how independent and free the neck is to twist left and right, while the thoracic spine holds that twist. And now bring the head to neutral. And if you can, let that top knee come down on top of the bottom knee. So it's a slightly different position. That left foot isn't so much pressing into the floor, it's kind of just lying there on its side. Notice how that changes the dynamic in the hip. And from here, you can use blocks if you want. You can bring the hands to the blocks or the floor. And that's going to bring a forward lean over the knees. But your hands are supporting you, so you're not going so far that it's hurting. Your hands are really controlling the degree of sensation you feel. And those hands can walk out as far as you want. Now, what's interesting when you come out like this is you can play around with your head. You can drop the chin towards the chest, feeling the upper shoulders and back letting go. You can lift the chin away from the chest. And your body's going to give you feedback about which feels better. It might like both. And my hands can creep out even a little further over time, to the point where my head might even come to my knees. Slowly walk the hands back to pick up the weight of the torso. Let's extend those legs out for a moment. So once again, both legs out, toes curled back, head over shoulders, shoulders over hips, shoulders back and down. Internal focus on left leg, right leg. Any difference? And this time we'll bring the right foot back and underneath. So when I say underneath, we're kind of looking to have that knee pointing straight ahead. And you should be able to tap your left foot on the other side. Once again, if that left knee is elevated, just prop it up so it's not straining. And then we'll work the right leg in and out a few times. Squeeze in, stand out. And really what we're doing here is preparing that right leg so that it can stand on the other side of the left thigh. Internal focus, sit up tall, head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Weight on the sit bones, even or uneven, trying to somewhat even it out. The taller you sit here, the taller the prop that you sit on is going to make it easier to even out the sit bones. So a thicker blanket. Let's get all those golfers ready for some twists here. Turning that right shoulder back, you can bring your right hand to the floor, a block, or your waistline. And this is my sore shoulder, so I'll have a very limited range of motion here at the moment. I know some people can bring their opposite elbow over the knee as well if you prefer that kind of increased leverage. Now there's a tendency in twists we start to lose alignment, so come back to that internal focus. Head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Shoulders back and down. Neck lifts up. And then just turning the head. Let's make sure that the neck is free from the shoulders, left and right. Look for the delicious range. And then finally come to neutral and organically let go of that twist, keeping the right knee over the left knee this time, so you're changing the position slightly. Noticing how that feels in your hip flexor, your top hip flexor. And this is where you can have some fun leaning forward now, using your hands to control how much tension goes into the hips and the thighs and the low back. The further you come out, of course, the more you'll feel that traction. And you can play with your head. Think of these as great opportunities to free the neck up from the shoulders, to free up the upper back between the shoulder blades, all the way down into the low back. Avoid pain. If anything's painful, adjust, just adjust. Couple more breaths in that position, and then you can walk your torso back up. And why not massage your feet while you're back up there? Give the feet another little prod and press, and see how they're doing. And then slowly lean back and then extend the legs out. Pick up the knees and bring the soles of the feet together. And once again, if you sit right on the edge of your prop, you'll find the forward tilt of the pelvis supports that hip opening. And I want you to tune into your shoulders for a moment. We're going to kind of do exercise of choice. So I'm going to do some gentle rolls up, back and down. Both directions. But if you have favorite shoulder exercises you really like, you can let them come into the practice at any time and break off into your own riff. I'm going to take my left hand, sweep it across in front of me, lock elbows, and grab that elbow and pull the shoulder down. Traction out my neck. Turn my head towards the stretching shoulder. Oh. Keeping the elbows locked, I'll bring hands together for eagle arms just to add a different kind of traction to my shoulder. And you can drop my right ear towards my right shoulder to traction out the neck a little more. This is all freeing up the shoulder joint. Drop the chin towards the chest and back up a few times like you're nodding with that slanted head. And then slowly come back to neutral, release. And depending on your shoulders, you can try the other side. You can lock elbows, sweeping around, pulling that right shoulder down, turning the head towards the right shoulder. Oh. So really, with that internal focus, seeing how the shoulder and the neck really come together to tighten up. They really like to lock together. And depending on your arms mobility, you can come into the eagle arms and drop your left ear towards the left shoulder. Head nods or not. And slowly release. Extend the left leg out to the left. Toes curled back, so we're going to bring some stretch into the back of the legs, and toes curled back for the fascia. And you might like to have a strap handy here. And take your right hand up and tap the back of your back and bring it down a few times. Now this is my sore shoulder, so I don't have much range of motion where I can really play with this too much. But the goal here at one point is you're going to try and bring that elbow, aligning it behind the head as much as you can. The other hand can support you. And then it's going to open up the rib cage a little bit. And for those who want to really get into this, into cow face pose, you can dangle the strap behind your back and the other hand can reach around behind and hand walks towards hand. So we'll all be in different levels. How about postural alignment here? How's your posture? Head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Might as well smile when you're in this kind of predicament. What else can you do, right? And stay as long as you like and then slowly release. Internal focus on your nervous system right now. How's your nervous system? So there is something magical happens when we start to work with the body. Something magical happens to the nervous system. It starts to change. Let's change hips. Extend right leg, bend left. And this time the left hand's going to tap and open. And once again, you can align, elbow over the back of the head. Watch the posture here. There's a tendency to disengage the neck. We want the neck to pull the back of the skull back. And then you can do your dangly thing and if your shoulder's up for it. And then slowly release. And to finish our practice, you might like to use blocks to sit on and come into a kneeling posture. So the blocks can go behind you into a kneeling posture. The higher the blocks, the less intensity on the knees. If you're working on plantar fasciitis, you might want to curl the toes. Otherwise, you can point the toes. And use that internal focus once again to become aware of posture. And of course, don't sit like this if something's not right. Come into campfire pose if you like, something like this if that feels more appropriate. And once again, notice the impact on the nervous system. So there's this correlation between our nervous system and the tightness in our body. And then that changes the way we breathe. And hopefully the way we are. As you bring your hands together in gratitude for our practice and each other's company. Namaste. Thank you, everyone.